The moment someone realizes they cannot get a reaction out of you, the entire game between you changes. Not because you became stronger overnight, but because you stopped handing them the controls. This is the quiet power almost no one is taught, and tonight we are going to take it apart piece by piece. We call it detachment, and almost everyone misunderstands the word. They hear it and picture a cold man who feels nothing, who has given up on caring. That is not detachment. That is numbness wearing detachment's coat. Real detachment is something far more dangerous and far more alive. Detachment is not the absence of feeling. It is the absence of being controlled by feeling. You still want things. You still love, still hope, still desire. You simply stop letting the wanting own you. The grip loosens, and for the first time the thing you wanted cannot drag you wherever it pleases. Here is the mechanism underneath all of it. Every time you react, you reveal where your handle is. The person who can make you angry, anxious, or desperate has found the lever that moves you. And whoever controls the lever controls the machine. This is why the calmest person in any conflict usually wins it. Not by being right and not by being loud, but by refusing to bleed where the other person is trying to cut. When your reaction is no longer for sale, their strategy collapses, because their strategy was always your reaction. Most people live on strings they cannot see. A look decides their mood. A message left unanswered ruins their afternoon. A stranger's opinion rewrites how they feel about themselves. They are not living. They are being operated by everyone and no one in particular. Watch yourself the next time you wait for a reply. Notice how a small rectangle of glass holds your nervous system hostage. That is attachment in its purest form. You have handed a piece of your peace to someone who may not even be thinking about you. The Stoics found the first key 2,000 years ago. They split the world into two piles: what is in your control and what is not. Your effort, your aim, your choices are yours. The outcome, the result, the verdict of others is not. Detachment begins the instant you stop trying to own the second pile. This is the difference between caring about your work and being enslaved by how it lands. You can pour everything into the arrow and then let it fly free. You aimed well. That part was yours. Where the wind takes it was never going to be. When you detach from outcomes, fear loses most of its grip on you. Fear needs a future you are clutching. Take away the clutching, and there is nothing left for the fear to hold. You act because the action is right, not because you are terrified of the result. Now the uncomfortable law. Need repels. Desire that leaks out of you as desperation pushes people away as surely as a bad smell. The more visibly you need approval, love, or the deal, the less of it you receive. The world quietly steps back from the person who is grasping. And detachment attracts for the same hidden reason. The person who does not need the room is the one the room turns toward. We are drawn to those who seem complete without us, because their calm signals strength, and strength is magnetic. You become wanted the moment you stop needing. Picture two people offered the same opportunity. One needs it so badly his hands shake. The other would prefer it but does not depend on it. Watch who performs better, negotiates harder, and walks away with more. Detachment is not indifference. It is leverage. Think of negotiation, dating, any arena where power moves quietly between people. The one who can walk away holds the table. Not because they are colder, but because their peace is not collateral. They have nothing to lose that they have not already made peace with losing. So how do you actually build this? The first muscle is the pause. Between what happens and how you respond, there is a gap, and in that gap is your entire freedom. Most people have trained the gap down to nothing. Your work is to widen it one breath at a time. When the insult lands, when the message stings, when the urge to defend yourself rises like heat, do nothing for 3 seconds. Just feel it without feeding it. The feeling will crest and fall on its own, the way every wave does, if you do not throw yourself on top of it. The second muscle is moving your locus of judgment inward. Most people keep their self-worth in other people's pockets. They check faces for permission to feel okay. You take it back. You decide before you walk into the room what would make you proud of yourself, and you let that be the only scoreboard. The third muscle is lowering the stakes on purpose. Tell yourself before it begins that you will be fine whether this works or not. Not as a lie, but as a decision. The person who has already survived the worst outcome in their mind is impossible to hold hostage with it. There is a quiet question that dissolves most attachment. Ask, is this mine to control, or am I suffering over someone else's choice? Almost every spiral lives in the second category. You are not anxious about your actions. You are anxious about a verdict that was never yours to write. Detachment also means letting people have their reaction without rushing to fix it. When someone is disappointed in you for protecting your own boundary, you can let that disappointment exist. It is theirs to hold. You are not required to set yourself on fire to keep another person warm. Apply this to relationships and something strange happens. The neediness that strangles love quietly disappears. You stop interrogating every silence. You stop performing for reassurance. You love from a place of fullness instead of hunger, and that kind of love is the only kind that does not suffocate the person receiving it. Apply it to your work and your hands steady. You do the work for the work, not for the applause. The applause may come and you will enjoy it, but you no longer manufacture your effort out of a desperate need to be seen. Ironically, work made this way is almost always better. Apply it to status and the chains fall off. You stop needing to be the smartest voice, the winner of every argument, the one who is admired. You can let someone else be right out loud. The need to be seen as superior is itself a leash, and you have just dropped it. Now the warning, because this is where most people poison the medicine. Detachment can curdle into avoidance. Some people hear all of this and simply stop caring, stop trying, stop letting anyone close, and they call their fear by a braver name. That is not freedom. That is a prison with better branding. There is a clean test to tell the two apart. True detachment makes you more present, not less. You engage fully, you risk, you love, and you simply release your grip on the result. False detachment makes you withdraw. It builds walls and calls them peace. One opens you to life. The other quietly buries you. Here is the paradox that makes detachment beautiful instead of cold. When you stop clinging, you can finally care without contaminating it with need. You hold people with an open hand. They stay because they want to, not because you trap them. That is a deeper love than any grip could ever produce. And there is a freedom in it that is hard to describe until you taste it. You walk into rooms without scanning for approval. You hear criticism without flinching. You lose things without unraveling. The world can still touch you, but it can no longer own you, and that distinction is the whole of a free life. So start small and start tonight. The next time someone reaches for your reaction, give them silence and a steady face. The next time you crave a verdict, return your attention to the only thing that was ever yours, your own next action. Detachment is not a personality you are born with. It is a muscle, and it grows every time you refuse to be moved. If something in this hit close, you already know which part of your life you are still gripping too tightly. Subscribe and stay with us. We keep looking straight at the laws of power and human nature that comfort would rather you never learned. The next one is already on its way.